point out, we are joyful warriors.
The 2024 campaign in a new phase as Kamala Harris and Tim Walz tore through the all-important states of Wisconsin and Michigan, just one day after they both became the official Democratic nominees. The tens of millions of dollars the new duo raised in the hours since Walz's VP announcement, how Republicans are preparing to take him on, and the split-screen campaign already happening. Plus, the late-breaking details after two suspects were arrested after allegedly plotting a terror attack at a Taylor Swift concert. Where? And the investigation now underway. And
I've seen people all across the country reach to me and say, how could you do this? So much hurt around it. I'm like, have you been in the field?
in tonight's Prime Focus, we take you to the Deep South and introduce you to the new generation of farmers trying to buck stereotypes around cotton farming. Good evening. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following those stories and much more, including fresh fears of riots putting the UK on high alert with more than 30 protests planned across the country as far-right groups wreak havoc with anti-migrant riots following a stabbing attack in northern England. Plus, Tropical Storm Debbie gaining strength as it prepares to make its second landfall along the South Carolina coast, the preparations that are underway. And female athletes in the lead in Paris, the medal count, and how they are making history when we take a look by the numbers. But we are going to begin with that thwarted Taylor Swift tour terror plot. 3 concerts now canceled in Europe as a result of a possible threat. The Eras Tour, by the way, the highest grossing concert tour in history. The canceled shows were set for tomorrow, Friday, Saturday in Austria's capital city, Vienna. Authorities say the 2 suspects are under arrest accused of planning the attack. U.S. intelligence alerting Austrian and European law enforcement about the plot. The suspects were allegedly radicalized online, at least one of them a teenager who pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. Maggie Rulli leads us off with the breaking developments.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
Tonight, Taylor Swift scrapping all 3 nights of her Eras Tour starting tomorrow in Vienna after Austrian police say they thwarted an ISIS-inspired terror plot targeting her concerts. Swift's team saying in a statement, with confirmation from government officials of a planned terrorist attack at Ernst Happel Stadium, we have no choice but to cancel the 3 scheduled shows for everyone's safety. The decision coming just hours after officials announced the arrest of 2 suspects they say made detailed plans for an attack after being radicalized online. One of the men, a 19-year-old, allegedly pledged allegiance to the Islamic State about a month ago. Authorities say the bomb squad removed chemicals from his home an hour south of Vienna that they are now testing for possible explosives. The popular Eras Tour drawing record crowds of young fans. Many Americans have been flying to Europe to see Taylor Swift.
We hereby conduct.
Tonight, fans with tickets to the Vienna show sharing their disappointment on TikTok.
The women in my family have been planning this trip for over a year. And we've spent like thousands of dollars to come here and like taking time off of work.
Swift's sold-out Eras Tour concerts in Vienna were expected to draw 65,000 Swifties each night inside the Ernst Happel Stadium and another 15,000 fans outside. This was the scene just days ago in Munich, where 40,000 fans who couldn't get tickets piled onto these hills next to the stadium just to catch a glimpse. ISIS has claimed responsibility for attacking concerts before. In Moscow just last March, gunmen killing 60 people. A suicide bomber killed 22 people at an Ariana Grande concert in the UK in 2017. And in Paris, attacks across the city left 130 people dead in 2015.
ISIS is still out there. They are still active. They are still online. They are still recruiting.
Taylor Swift in Vienna.
After the arrest, Vienna police were ready to move forward with the show, saying the concrete danger has been minimized, but they acknowledged an abstract threat remained. Tonight, Taylor Swift team not taking any chances.
And Maggie joins us now from London. Maggie, what more, if anything, do we know about how police tracked these suspects down?
Now, Phil, we now know that it was U.S. intelligence that found at least one of these suspects had posted their allegiance to ISIS-K on the messaging app Telegram in early July. They then passed that information on to the Austrians and Europol. And Phil, we also want to know what's going to happen to all of those disappointed fans. Taylor was very quick to announce that she will be giving everyone a full refund. Phil.
All right, Maggie Rulli from London tonight. Maggie, thank you. We move on now to the race for the White House. The newly formed Democratic ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz barnstorming the upper Midwest in their first full day of campaigning together. The pair set to address a large crowd in just outside of Detroit, Michigan, any minute now. The campaign putting the number in attendance there at 15,000. Earlier today, massive crowds for their rally in Wisconsin. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance planning to shadow their moves. Vance also in Eau Claire, trying to cross paths with Harris and Walz on the tarmac. This comes after Vance has raised questions about Walz's military service. Selena Wang reports in from Michigan.
Tonight, the race for the White House in full swing, with both campaigns battling to win the Midwest. Air Force Two and J.D. Vance's campaign plane meeting on the tarmac.
I just wanted to check out my future plane.
Holding dueling rallies in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
How great it is to be here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin!
Vice President Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, on the trail for their first full day of campaigning, drawing another huge crowd.
So in the next 90 days, we need you to use your power. We need you to knock on doors. We need you to register folks to vote. We need you to energize and organize and mobilize and make your voices heard.
The campaign saying they've reached $36 million in the 24 hours since Walz has been on the ticket. A new poll out today shows Harris and Donald Trump effectively tied among likely Wisconsin voters. Harris hoping Walz from bordering Minnesota will help them take the state. New rivals, Vance and Walz, both veterans. Vance, who deployed to Iraq in the Marines and did not see any active fighting, going after Walz's military background, accusing him of leaving his unit before it deployed to Iraq and lying about his service, seizing on this moment.
And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
He has not spent a day in a combat zone. What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not.
Walz served in the Army National Guard for 24 years and has never claimed to have seen active combat, despite those comments that he carried a gun in war. He retired honorably in 2005 to run for Congress as the crisis in Iraq was growing. The Harris campaign saying in a statement, the governor carried, fired, and trained others to use weapons of war innumerable times. Governor Walz would never insult or undermine any American service to this country. In fact, he thanked Senator Vance for putting his life on the line for our country. It's the American way. Walz hitting right back.
Donald Trump, he sees the world differently than we see it. He has no understanding of service because he's too busy servicing himself. Again and again and again. Again and again and again. This guy weakens our country to strengthen his own hand.
Selena is live outside Detroit right now. Selena, both campaigns in Michigan tonight, there is a keen awareness about just how important these battleground states really are.
We will meet this moment.
That's right, Phil. Harris and Walz are racing to win over voters in these critical battleground states, well aware that this election is only 90 days away, and they've had massive crowds at their rallies. They've been energized and fired up, including here tonight in Michigan. Now, J.D. Vance, on the other hand, he is following Harris in every state that she's visiting, but he's opting to hold these smaller campaign events instead of rallies. Phil?
Selena Wang tonight from Michigan. Selena, thank you. Joining us now is contributing correspondent Rachel Bade, who is also a Politico reporter. Rachel, thanks for your time. Always good to talk to you. I'm curious, do you think Republicans are happy with Harris's decision to pick Tim Walz?
Well, Phil, I can tell you initially they were positively giddy, and for one reason alone, that Tim Walz is not Josh Shapiro. Republicans were really concerned behind the scenes that Harris was going to pick Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. Frankly, Democrats need that state if they want to hold the White House this fall. And Shapiro is very popular. There was a belief by Republicans that if she picked him, the race might as well be over. So naturally, they were relieved when they heard that she picked Walz. But I can also tell you that in the past about 24 hours or so, I have heard from Republicans who are saying privately, not on the record, of course, that they've been surprised by how much energy Walz has brought to the ticket.
J.D. Vance has criticized Walz's military record in something of what's reminiscent of a swift boat moment, you know, from John Kerry's campaign. But it's not really the same thing, right? I mean, there's a record of service here. It's sort of almost nitpicking in a way.
Yeah, this is quintessential Chris LaCivita. This is a guy who's extremely close to Donald Trump, one of his senior advisors. And he was actually one of the architects of the swift boat strategy that ended up hurting John Kerry in the 2004 presidential election. He was one of the people who sort of recruited and interviewed all these people who had served with Kerry in Vietnam to come out and say, look, this guy doesn't deserve the Purple Hearts, essentially, that he has received. This now, however, is very much a double-edged sword for Republicans, which is one of the reasons I've been, frankly, surprised that they're trotting this out, you know, today to attack Walz specifically, because, you know, all it takes is Democrats to counter on this to say, look, Donald Trump was allegedly a draft dodger.
We've seen Harris and Walz out on the trail in 2 states today, several more this week. Vance, of course, also in Wisconsin. Wondering, do you think Republicans are asking, where's Trump? We haven't seen him that much.
Republicans will admit to you privately that right now they're down. They're looking at this polling. They're looking at all the money that Harris is bringing in. And yet Trump is not on the trail. I mean, the Trump campaign has sent out J.D. Vance. He's doing this sort of trolling tour right now where he follows Harris around all these battleground states where she's campaigning with Walz. But that's not proving particularly effective, at least not yet. But look, I think Donald Trump, if he's gonna swing back, it's a matter of time before he gets back on the campaign trail. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him out sooner rather than later, Phil.
All right, and we know you'll be asking the questions. Rachel Bade, always great to talk to you about it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
In his first interview since withdrawing from the race, President Biden warned about what he believes will happen if former President Trump loses the election.
Are you confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power in January 2025?
If Trump wins, no, I'm not confident at all. I mean, if Trump loses, I'm not confident at all. He means what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath. It will have to be a stolen election.
Let's get right to ABC's Rachel Scott. Rachel, this is pretty stark language from the president.
It is, Phil. And look, former President Donald Trump still hasn't accepted the results from the 2020 election, and he has not committed to accepting the results from the November 2024 election. In fact, he continues to sow doubt in the election process. He's been asked about this repeatedly. He insists he will only accept the results if it's, quote, a fair and legal and good election. Out on the campaign trail, the former president continues to push false claims about the 2020 election, even after his own supporters stormed the Capitol on January 6th. Look, the reality here is that he has lost more than 60 court cases. And even his own attorney general said there was no widespread voter fraud that would have changed the outcome of the 2020 election. Tonight, President Biden saying you can not only love your country when you win, Phil.
All right, Rachel Scott, thank you. And now to the UK, where thousands of police fanned out across the country and storefronts were all boarded up in anticipation of another day of anti-migrant riots. But a more peaceful message prevailed. ABC's Ian Pannell has the latest from London.
Yeah, Phil, so far it appears that the evening has not belonged to the far right as many people had feared. There are over 100 sites, immigration centres, places where asylum seekers are housed, vulnerable communities that were feared to be being targeted by the far right. Remember, we've seen clashes for over a week where extreme violence has been used against the police, but also vulnerable communities. We've seen mosques attacked. We even saw on a couple of incidents terrible scenes where hotels that were being used to house immigrants immigrants and asylum seekers, people attempted to set fire to them. And there have been threats that we could see a large-scale repetition of this tonight, and so far that really hasn't materialized. We've only seen tiny clusters of the far right coming out on the streets. Instead, what we have seen are thousands and thousands of peaceful protesters taking to the streets to demonstrate, to raise their voice against the far right, against the fascists who've been taking to the streets, saying they do not represent them. They stand against racism. They stand in favor of treating people equally. And they've said that immigrants are welcome in the country and that they're willing to protect their own streets. We've also seen thousands of extra police deployed around the country. This has become a burning political issue here in the UK. The UK Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister Keir Starmer, promising, vowing to have a tough stance against anyone involved in this far-right violence. In fact, today we saw the sentencing to prison, custodial sentences for 3 of the first of the hundreds of protesters who've been arrested. One of those sentences was for 3 years. The message is loud and clear. We won't tolerate it. And the people have taken to the streets saying they do not represent them. Phil?
All right, Ian Panel from London tonight. Ian, thank you. Also, Tropical Storm Debbie is gaining strength again here in this country as it prepares to make its second landfall along the South Carolina coast. The system has already caused widespread flooding, unleashing more than a foot of rain in 3 different states, with up to 10 more inches expected through tomorrow. Flood watches and warnings are posted from Georgia to the Carolinas to Virginia. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z is tracking it, but we are going to begin with ABC's Victor Oquendo in South Carolina.
Tonight, Tropical Storm Debbie is churning the surf, getting stronger in the warm waters off the Carolinas. Millions bracing for the storm's second landfall.
All North Carolinians across our state need to be prepared for a deluge.
Debbie's track taking it all the way into the Northeast, where overnight a separate severe system rocked the region, swamping roads in New York and New Jersey.
It's bad. Its water is very deep, and it's flooded all the way down there.
And forcing airlines to cancel hundreds of flights. New York City authorities using drones to warn residents.
If you live in a basement or ground floor apartment, be prepared to leave your location if flooding occurs.
Debbie dumping nearly 2 feet of water in parts of Florida where they're still feeling the effects. Drone video shot this morning by the county showing water still in the streets of Sarasota.
Victor joins us now from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And Victor, you're right in the path of where that second landfall could be. What are you seeing there tonight? How is it?
Phil, right now we are getting a little bit of a break from the rain, but it's coming. And right now you might be able to hear it. The wind is picking up as well. Myrtle Beach is one of the country's most popular vacation destinations. And tonight it is practically deserted, with many restaurants, businesses closing up shop ahead of Debbie's second landfall. Phil?
Yeah, people heeding the warning. All right, Victor Oquendo from Myrtle Beach. Victor, thank you. The remnants of Debbie will be moving in the Northeast this weekend. We want to get right to ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z in North Carolina. Ginger.
And by then it will be almost a week that we've been tracking Debbie across our country. That's how slowly it's moving, Phil. Behind me, the surf is kicking here in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, but the storm is still 80 miles or so south of Myrtle Beach. It has barely moved. Its forward motion is now north-northeast at 3. It's going to have to get moving to make a second landfall, and it will eventually, probably early tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, we've got a brand new flash flood warning just by us here. Wilmington's included in that. We've got a tornado watch. We've seen confirmed tornadoes already this afternoon, not far from us actually, and that goes up to Morehead City till 11 p.m. Quick look at that second landfall. It happens overnight tonight, but those streamers and the convection, that really strong rain, is going to be only building into the overnight hours, and that's why 3 to 6 inches widespread will make for flash flooding. Tomorrow it's Raleigh, Roanoke, Charlotte, and then it gets into Appalachia. So they need rain desperately, but not all at once. Eventually then, Pennsylvania, western New York, and Vermont, but the line trails through Philadelphia Friday afternoon, New York City by Friday night, so we all will get rid of it by Saturday. That's the high risk, rarely gets issued, let alone for days in a row. It goes up to Roanoke now, and then 6 to 10 inches is the total on top of whatever you've already had as some of the biggest ones out there, Phil.
Ginger Z continuing to track Debbie tonight. Ginger, thank you. Illinois Governor J.D. Pritzker is calling for the sheriff of Sangamon County to resign after the fatal shooting of Sonia Massey by a now fired deputy.
I called for the sheriff's resignation because the sheriff has failed. He has failed to explain how he ended up hiring this deputy sheriff who has been fired from other departments.
Sheriff Jack Campbell released a statement saying he is prepared to continue leading and serving residents through this difficult period. Former Deputy Sean Grayson is facing multiple charges now, including first-degree murder. Venezuela's top prosecutor is now launching a criminal investigation against Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Corina Machado, the leaders of the opposition against President Nicolas Maduro. Machado and Gonzalez have called on the country's military to abandon support of Maduro and deny his claim that he won the election. Machado spoke with ABC News today about the investigation.
We know exactly what we have done. We are defending popular sovereignty, we're defending the vote, and we are defending our right for free protest. And we will not give up. It is important for the world to understand that this took us years to prepare for, and we will make the truth prevail in the days to come.
The U.S., by the way, also denies Maduro was fairly elected. There's still much more to get to here tonight on Prime. Coming up, the harrowing details revealed in a new lawsuit over the Titan submersible implosion.
It was a regular day for 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
She went to meet her mom at a bowling church league, but she never makes it into the bowling alley. Something terrible had happened to her. Melissa was a good kid. She had big dreams for her life.
And then she disappears.
My gut knew this was not a young girl who just took off and ran away.
New information into the disappearance of Melissa Witt. Pools of blood were found by detectives.
We were sick to our stomachs.
I just love to have her back more than anything in the world.
It is a heart-wrenching day for the family of 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
Police found the body in the Ozark National Forest.
You had several suspects.
All these kinds of leads. Who could have done this?
You have a known serial killer in your area.
Could he be involved?
Find the evidence, find the DNA profile.
We had to find that person. Time was of the essence.
Every blood spot matters. Every piece of DNA matters. You're looking for that game-changing piece.
We're actually finding key evidence that could have slipped through the cracks.
One of our guys says, you're going to see this.
And there's another one.
What could be underneath these headstones? Her last hours on this earth were probably the most horrific a person can experience.
This beautiful young girl. Police will find out what happened.
At Wit's End, the hunt for a killer. Now streaming only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up.
Nobody knows the real story. The Beauty Queen Killer, only on Hulu.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food.
It's all coming up on GMA 3.
You're gonna love it. We'll see you then.
GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us afternoons
for everything you need to know.
I love that.
Me too.
Welcome back. Cotton has long had a negative connotation in the black community. It brings up thoughts of centuries of enslavement in which ancestors were forced to toil in the fields. But now, black farmers are trying to change that stigma, encouraging the community to focus on what it could be instead of what it once represented. ABC's senior national correspondent Steve Osunsami traveled to North Carolina to visit a man who's trying to remove cotton's negative connotation.
There's an unmistakable beauty to the
snow-white cotton fields that blanket parts of the South in the fall. It's nature's notice, really, that shorter days are coming and that farmers will need to work longer nights, harvesting what's arguably the most popular material in the world.
A family speaking out after students were asked to clean cotton in class.
But for many Americans, there's little poetry in cotton.
My children, under no circumstance, I'm so sorry, need to be taught what it's like to be a slave or what it's like to be Black.
And for many Black Americans in particular, there's a racism to the idea of picking it.
She had a box of cotton on her desk and went around with the box and gave everyone about a handful.
For example, parents were more than offended in Spokane, Washington, when a 5th grade teacher passed around a box of cotton during a history lesson and told her students to pick it clean. And calling someone a cotton picker can seem very much a slur.
That made me feel like I didn't know that they actually thought of me that way.
You know, it's work, but not the hardest work you can do.
37-year-old Julius Tillery is trying to take the bad word out of what it means for Black people to pick cotton in America.
There's not many of us. We're basically extinct. There's less than 100 Black cotton farmers in the whole country.
He'll tell you that he's a cotton picker who owns hundreds of acres in North Carolina, has an economics degree, and is teaching Black farmers across the South how to survive in a global economy.
If I don't create a new history for us, it will always be a bad history. So I think it's really important that the work I do to help foster a better ideal around cotton is important.
He's created a side business he calls Black Cotton, where he sells jewelry, home accessories, and has partnered with the people who make Vans shoes to create streetwear. Two years ago, Vans bought 10,000 pounds of his cotton. This year, they tell us they're buying twice as much. The shirts they sell come with a logo that Julius Tillery calls the New Rose.
Black cotton is the new rose.
The new rose.
We got to remember, this is American cotton. This is Black cotton. This is special cotton. Our catchphrase is cotton is our culture. Let's grow together. We want to bring people into this and have everyone have a feeling around it that's positive.
You're trying to change the brand of cotton within Black culture.
Absolutely. Like on the internet, people call me the Puff Daddy of cotton, and I think that's cool.
He's trying to improve on the history of cotton that in America is very much tied to that old idea that Black people should be owned. In the movies like 12 Years a Slave, just the picture of Black Americans working on those endless cotton farms feels as ugly as can be.
I'm a 5th-generation cotton farmer, and we emphasize that because that means 5 generations of free men decided to do this work. And you know, us that live close to cotton fields, we know that cotton is not here to hurt us. But I've seen people all across the country reach to me and say, how could you do this? So much hurt around it. I'm like, have you been in the field? Like I had a rapper from Atlanta come, and he shot a video at my farm.
This is Tillery, seen here in that video, and a song by artist King David Wilson.
After the video, we say a prayer together, and he began to cry. And I hugged him. I said, what's wrong, brother? And he said, this is the freest I've ever felt as a Black man.
What is it? How do you explain to people that people need to flip that script?
Well, we have to remember, cotton wasn't the oppressive thing. Cotton is just a plant, and it's a magical plant at that. It was people that was oppressive and made us work like we was machines. However, this is a new day. No one's making me do this work. No one's pressing me to do any of this work. So I had to decide to change my perspective on this. It's actually something to be proud of.
In today's world, it's all about marketing the product that you raise.
He's taking over the business from his father, and buried on their farm is the former slave in the family who was forced to work in these fields before buying the land as a free man more than 100 years ago.
That's here, and it made me always feel like I had to protect this area.
Julius Tillery says today, people need to see the pride in what he does, and not just the pain.
Everything's intentional. We're here because of cotton in many ways. We just gotta not take it for granted.
It's so important, and it comes from this little plant.
So let's make the best of it. Let's change the bad narrative and let's bring people together over it.
Our thanks to Steve for that. There is still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, the latest tech company pivoting to AI and the major layoffs they say are needed to make it possible. But next, an Olympic first. Female athlete numbers equal the men's. But wait till you see their medal count by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you, David. Good to meet you. Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money. Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time.
That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good. Very good.
Coming in hot. Jimmy, coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too. I'll be here.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
I'm in. That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
Hi, I'm Andy. And I'm Sabrina. And we're moms, juggling tons of stuff every day, like all you moms out there. And you know what we love? Really love? Pop culture. So listen now to our new podcast, Pop Culture Moms, wherever you get your podcasts.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, start here.
Here's to good mornings in America.
Can you feel the love?
Oh, yeah.
Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's ray of sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
make dreams come true. Wow. I'm just so happy. It's so good.
Get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
You know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
It didn't seem impossible, but it seemed improbable. And I think I was going to be really happy to walk away with 1 medal, and to have 2 and to have 2 golds is, I think it's a dream come true. It's more than I expected, and I think it gives me hope and confidence for the future as well.
Yeah, we bet it does. That's U.S. women's cyclist Kristen Faulkner. For the first time, the team brought home the gold in team pursuit today. Once again, U.S. female athletes are on pace to win more medals than their male teammates at this summer's games. Tonight, we have a look at the race to gender parity at the Olympic Games by the numbers. Of the 94 medals won by Team USA so far, 51 have been by women. Helping to rack up the hardware count, Simone Biles, with a career total of 11 medals, becoming the most decorated Olympic gymnast in history. Katie Ledecky brought her career total to 14 Olympic medals, making her the 5th most decorated Olympian of all time. And the women's rugby team earned its first ever medal and Team USA's first rugby medal since the men won gold back in 1924. 10,500 athletes are competing in Paris, and for the first time, the Olympic Committee has set an equal quota for male and female competitors. This Summer Games includes 152 women's events, 157 men's events, and 20 mixed gender events. It is a far cry from the first Olympics to include women. The 1900 Paris Games hosted nearly 1,000 men and 22 women. For the first time, the Summer Games will conclude with the women's marathon this year, a slot traditionally reserved for the men. And there's much more ahead here on Prime. We're talking with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck together and getting a sneak peek at their latest project and why U.S. figure skaters are on the podium at the Paris Summer Games.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello. Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said, the movie, Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
as opposed to like
the brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Don't you crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America.
I'd heard my grandmother scream.
The murders of a husband and wife found dead inside their home.
Brandon is the last person to see his parents.
There were wild revelations.
Brandon's secret life.
They were saying he was a murderer, and there was just no possible way. Brandon was up there. He could have gotten this gun.
Who's wrong? Somebody's wrong.
Now, the powerful prison interview.
Why should we believe you?
2020, Friday night at 9/8 Central on ABC.
The $50 million lawsuit for the Titan submarine implosion and the details it exposes about that disaster. A major development in the investigation into the murder of a beloved Detroit doctor, and golden at last. A long-awaited moment for U.S. figure skaters. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown.
Dell Technologies is making major cuts to reorganize its sales team. That, according to Bloomberg, which reports that executives say they will be getting leaner and that the major changes would include a new group focused on artificial intelligence products, as well as adjusting its approach to its data center sales. The layoffs come after Dell cut 13,000 positions last year. Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush lost in her state's Democratic primary. Bush, a progressive who was part of the squad in Congress, lost to St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell in the state's 1st District. The race was competitive and expensive, with the American Israel Public Affairs Committee investing heavily towards challenging Bush, partly because of her criticism of Israel and its war with Hamas. Bush is the second member of the squad to lose in a primary this election cycle. The family of one of the 5 victims in last year's Titan sub explosion has filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Paul-Henri Nargelet's family is seeking more than $50 million in the suit, which accuses the sub's operator, OceanGate, of gross negligence and claims that the sub's flaws were intentionally concealed. An OceanGate spokesperson had no comment about the lawsuit today. A man who officials say was in an intimate relationship with a Detroit neurosurgeon has now been charged with the doctor's murder. Desmond Burks is facing charges including first-degree premeditated murder in the April 2023 shooting of Dr. Devin Hoover. Burks is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday. Dramatic video shows a Florida deputy rescuing a child from a pond. The Volusia County Sheriff's Office said a 5-year-old boy with autism went missing Tuesday night after escaping through his home's 2nd-story door. While checking a nearby pond, a deputy heard a voice and found the boy hanging onto a log. The child was brought to dry land and medically cleared before being returned to his family. More Olympic gold medals were awarded for Team USA, but not from this Olympics. Members of the figure skating team from the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing received their new gold medals. They were upgraded after Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva was banned for doping, which led to Russia's figure skating team being demoted and the U.S. being bumped up. Though it was in a different city, the skaters celebrated their golds all the same.
As we told you at the top of the broadcast, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, who you see there, are holding a rally just outside of Detroit. Let's listen.
And look, this is a place full of working folks, students, folks who care. And I think about this. You came out here early, found a place to park, stood in the sun, sat here and wait, and you did it. You did it for one simple and eloquent and beautiful reason. You love this country. You love this country. I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. Every day of her life, Vice President Harris fights for the American people. She's taken on predators, fraudsters, and transnational gangs. You heard it. She stood up to powerful corporate interests, and she has never hesitated to reach across the aisle, try and find some common solutions. And she has done it, and this is what we know. All the things that make me mad about those other guys and all the things they do wrong, the one thing that I will not forgive them for is they try to steal the joy from this country. They try and steal the joy. But you know what? You know what? Our next president brings the joy. She emanates the joy. I know a little something about that commitment to people. I was born in a small town of 400 people in Nebraska, and community was the way of life. My mom and dad taught me you show generosity to your neighbors and you work for a common good amongst them. At 17, I joined the Army National Guard. And for the next 24 years, it was a privilege to wear the uniform of this country. And just as it did for my dad, a Korean War era veteran, and millions of others, I used the GI Bill to get a college education. Followed a bit in my dad's footsteps. He was a teacher. My brothers and sisters were teachers. And they married teachers. I had the privilege of teaching high school social studies. And I coached the football team. We did win a state championship. I tell you that because don't ever close the yearbook is my pro tip to you. My students are the ones who encouraged me to run for office. I never thought much about it. But they saw in me what I hope to instill in them, a commitment to the common good, a true belief that one person truly can make a difference in their world. I lived in a district where I didn't know this at the time. Only one other Democrat since 1892 had won that district. And on that election night, my neighbors graced me with the opportunity to go to the United States Congress and represent them. I learned how to compromise without compromising my values. I learned how to work across the aisle to get good things done for people. And now as governor of Minnesota, I bring those experiences together so we can tackle some of those hard problems, inequities, climate change, all of the things that we care about. Now, we got a lot of shared values in this room. By the way, is labor in the room? This might be my chance to use it. Yeah! We know who built the middle class, but here's the deal. What we know is Donald Trump, he sees the world a bit differently than we see the world. And I've been saying it, he doesn't know the first thing about service because he's way too busy serving himself. This is a big difference, again and again. He does things that weakens our country, only to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws, he sows chaos and division amongst the public, and that's to say nothing about his record as president. Let's be, he is that. Look, we had the worst crisis of a generation, and he froze during COVID. People lost their lives because of that. He drove the economy into the ground, and make no mistake, violent crime was up during Donald Trump's presidency. And that's not even counting the crimes he committed. So, some of the gray hairs in here remember a Republican Party that used to actually talk about freedom. These guys, when they talk about freedom, it means government has the freedom to invade your exam room with your doctor. Now, I know, look, we got a lot of commonalities. And I'll say this, as an NFC North guys, Vikings fans are proud of the Lions. I will say that. I will say that. But in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors' personal choices. We may not agree with them or make them from ourselves, but I've been saying this, you all know it. Our golden rule is mind your own damn business. Just mind your own business. It's amazing what minding your own damn business does to make things work better. Don't like a book, don't read it. Is there anybody in America sitting around in a bar, a bunch of people talking and say, you know what we need in this country? We need to ban Animal Farm. That's the first thing we need to do. Nobody says that. But you know what? It would be fun if it wasn't so dangerous, because then they start thinking about things like IVF and banning IVF. And I have to tell you, this is very personal for my family. When my wife and I decided to have children, we went through years of fertility treatments. Remember, every time the phone rang, I'd catch my breath, I'd feel nervousness, and then it would be a crushing feeling when they told us that the treatments didn't work. The agony of that I can feel to this day, but I can also feel some joy in this, because it wasn't by chance, as I say this, when our daughter, and we finally conceived, and our daughter was born, we didn't hesitate at all. We named her Hope. We named her Hope.
All right, you've been listening to Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz, at a rally outside of Detroit. He's there, obviously, with Vice President Kamala Harris. They are the tickets. Still no direct comment, though, following questions about his military background raised by J.D. Vance. His speech is far from over, though, and then the vice president will come on and speak. ABC News Live will continue to bring you updates from the campaign trail. You know we will as we continue this evening and into tomorrow and for the rest of the 3 months of this election. We're going to turn now to the entertainment world. We told you about this a little bit earlier. Superstars Matt Damon and Casey Affleck teaming up for a brand new film. It's called The Instigators, and it's airing on Apple TV+. ABC's Rhiannon Alley sat down with the duo to give us a sneak peek.
I'm in the middle of a high-speed car chase.
Think about the person you want it to be.
What kind of person do you want to be?
Packed with action and New England accents, The Instigators is bringing two of Boston's most famous sons, Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, back together on the big screen.
Who is the instigator of the two of you?
In different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think being an actor and a writer and all that stuff takes a lot of self-starting. I guess we're both kind of instigators in that way. In terms of this project, he was the instigator because he wrote it and brought it to my wife and to me. So in the case of the instigators, you're the instigator. There you go.
That's a good answer.
The lifelong friends returning to their hometown for their 10th collaboration, the fourth heist film for the duo after the Ocean's franchise.
Smash and grab job, huh? Slightly more complicated than that. Oh, yeah.
In their latest, filming in some of Boston's most iconic sites.
The mayor is going to be holding a party on election night.
As the pair get into high-stakes hijinks, the heist gets even more complicated along the way.
It's your first job?
I know what I'm doing.
A little late for a career change, ain't it? You'll be 60.
And the Boston accents really come out in this one.
They
Is
do.
it like putting on an old hat? Is it, yeah?
Yeah, it's at this point, you just kind of fall into it a little bit. Though Casey decided to have an accent in some scenes and then not in others.
You the Marine?
Yeah.
You the ex-con?
Yeah, I did time, but you only got to cast aspersions at me, guy.
I'm trying.
Go. Stop talking.
No alcohol detected.
I play with the accent in the first 3 takes because I know that Matt's using the first 3 takes to memorize his lines. So
You can really calibrate those first 3 takes.
they're throwaways.
Let's go. Yeah, go.
Casey Affleck appearing in Good Will Hunting.
Are you like me now?
Alongside older brother Ben Affleck and Damon.
My boy's wicked smart.
All our friends and family.
Earning Damon and the elder Affleck their first Oscars.
And God, I know we're forgetting somebody. Whoever we forgot, we love you. And we love
The film, for all 3, life-changing.
I was thinking back on that this morning. I was a struggling actor for a year out in LA. I was at college and I was gonna do other things. And then these guys wanted to do Good Will Hunting. They sort of roped me into playing one of the parts, and I ended up in this career of being in movies.
Nearly 20 years later, Casey would go on to win an Oscar of his own.
It means so much to me, thank you.
Best Actor.
But I was wrong.
In Manchester by the Sea, another Damon-produced film.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
That's not true.
What would you have done with that if this hadn't worked out so well for you?
I don't know that I ever would have transitioned to a plan B. I never really saw myself doing anything else. I mean, I would have written screenplays for sure.
I mean, Matt, more than anyone I know, was cut out for this, like both as acting, writing, incredibly smart about filmmaking, always has been. I was thinking about the filmmaking in a completely different way and on a different level than I was.
Is it just fun going home to shoot these in your hometown and be in that
Yeah, for
area?
sure. There's like a level of familiarity just with the culture, the sensibility, the sense of humor, all that stuff feels really familiar and nice. I hadn't been back there to shoot since The Departed. We've made some good movies there, Good Will Hunting and Gone Baby Gone and Manchester by the Sea. So we want to come back with something different, which this is because it's a straight comedy.
A buddy comedy, seemingly 43 years in the making.
Has Casey been like another little brother?
Yeah, I mean, he's too old to call a little brother at this point. But when we were younger, sure, it's been definitely like a sibling relationship. I love him like a brother.
Casey, I heard you were telling stories about how sloppy he was when you were rooming together. Give me some roommate stories.
I can't spill that tea. I mean, there's really nothing that juicy there.
I was a slob. That is totally fair.
Well, if you're gonna say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't clean anything up. But that's comes with the territory.
It wasn't a clean house in general.
It wasn't, no.
No.
That was a disaster.
The former roommates coming a long way since then, but still wanting to work with and learn from each other.
What is it like working with someone you've known basically your entire life, that you grew up with? I mean, this was your best friend's kid brother.
Yeah, so we've been through a lot, but we've been adults together for 30 years now. We've kind of gone through all of these phases of life, you know, marriage and fatherhood and all this stuff together, because you have this foundation that the best part about it is you don't spend any time being diplomatic with each other. Movie making is it's problem solving and it's collaborative, so oftentimes you have creative disagreements with people. And ours are always, there's an underlying kindness, but we can be very blunt with each other, so it saves a lot of time.
Who wins the argument most of the time?
Usually Casey.
I never win the argument.
Casey?
I'll keep arguing.
But it's why he's great and why his performances are great, because he cares that much about every moment and will fight tooth and nail for them. If somebody feels that strongly about somebody that you love and trust that much, let's try it. You know, maybe it'll work.
Well, something's working for sure. Thanks to Rhiannon and Matt and Casey for that conversation. And thank you. That's our show for tonight. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. And thanks for streaming with us. Have a good night. Hey, coming up in the next hour, canceled why Taylor Swift is calling off 3 concerts this week. And the Middle East on edge, Israel and the U.S. moving military resources. Will Iran strike?
There was a specific moment during our wedding. I looked at Jason, I looked at my children, and I realized this was real. That was my husband. And this was our family. We live in a very beautiful place, and sometimes the beauty masks what really is going on. Jason seemed happy. We all just thought the world of him.
This is her knight in shining armor.
Everything felt right. All of a sudden, I found this hidden folder. I opened it, and I don't think I can say it. I'm sorry. I just need a break.
She put her hand to her mouth and gasped. It's shocking, gut-wrenching.
I realized that my life will never be the same. Jason would kill me before he would let me tell anyone this part of him. He's in so much freaking trouble.
My stomach just dropped. I remember just feeling like, what the hell? That was my dad. It did not feel real. It felt so shocking. Like, what is going on?
Never in a million years did I ever think Jason capable of something so horrific. What did I miss?
That's when that fire inside of me shifted to like a flame. I was like, it's on. I lured Jason to a public place. The whole police squad pulls up. I hear the most awful sound, like blood curdling out of this world scream. And I realized it was coming out of me.
Betrayal is one of the hardest types of trauma to overcome.
Those letters and those apologies were to make him feel better.
Everything that he said was a lie. How could he do this? He just really didn't think I had it in me to do something. So I did.
Betrayal, A Father's Secret, the all-new season, only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Shohei Ohtani, legends of the game. But now the list of greats redefined. From ABC News, Reclaim the Forgotten League, a side of the story of baseball you have never heard before like this. The award-winning podcast is back. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or scan the QR codes you see here.
Friday, fire up your weekend with a GMA party in the park when Nicky Jam performs live. Only on Good Morning America's Summer Concert Series, sponsored by Wayfair.
Let's go.
We are heading into the unknown.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Good evening. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Phil Lipoff in for Linsey Davis tonight. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We do have a lot of news to get to tonight, but we're going to begin with that foiled concert terror plot. Authorities say they have thwarted an alleged terror plot targeting the European leg of Taylor Swift's mega hit Eras Tour. Authorities say 2 suspects have been arrested, accused of planning to attack one of her 3 shows in Vienna with tens of thousands of fans in attendance. The concert promoter says the shows were canceled after Austrian officials confirmed the plot. Suspects allegedly radicalized online. ABC's Maggie Rulli with the latest.
Welcome to the Eras Tour. Tonight, Taylor Swift scrapping all 3 nights of her Eras Tour starting tomorrow in Vienna after Austrian police say they thwarted an ISIS-inspired terror plot targeting her concerts. Swift's team saying in a statement, with confirmation from government officials of a planned terrorist attack at Ernst Happel Stadium, we have no choice but to cancel the 3 scheduled shows for everyone's safety. The decision coming just hours after officials announced the arrest of 2 suspects they say made detailed plans for an attack after being radicalized online. One of the men, a 19-year-old, allegedly pledged allegiance to the Islamic State about a month ago. Authorities say the bomb squad removed chemicals from his home an hour south of Vienna that they are now testing for possible explosives. The popular Eras Tour drawing record crowds of young fans. Many Americans have been flying to Europe to see Taylor Swift. Tonight, fans with tickets to the Vienna show sharing their disappointment on TikTok.
The women in my family have been planning this trip for over a year. And we've spent like thousands of dollars to come here and like taking time off of work.
Swift's sold-out Eras Tour concerts in Vienna were expected to draw 65,000 Swifties each night inside the Ernst Happel Stadium and another 15,000 fans outside. This was the scene just days ago in Munich, where 40,000 fans who couldn't get tickets piled onto these hills next to the stadium just to catch a glimpse. ISIS has claimed responsibility for attacking concerts before. In Moscow just last March, gunmen killing 60 people. Oh my God. A suicide bomber killed 22 people at an Ariana Grande concert in the UK in 2017. And in Paris, attacks across the city left 130 people dead in 2015.
ISIS is still out there. They are still active. They are still online. They are still recruiting.
Taylor Swift in Vienna.
After the arrest, Vienna police were ready to move forward with the show, saying the concrete danger has been minimized, but they acknowledged an abstract threat remained. Tonight, Taylor Swift team not taking any chances.
Our thanks to Maggie Rulli. And tonight, Tropical Storm Debbie is gaining strength as it prepares to make its second landfall along the South Carolina coast. The system has already caused widespread flooding, unleashing more than a foot of rain in 3 states with up to 10 more inches expected through tomorrow. Flood watches and warnings are posted from Georgia to the Carolinas to Virginia. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z is tracking it, but we are going to begin with ABC's Victor Akendo in South Carolina.
Tonight, Tropical Storm Debbie is churning the surf, getting stronger in the warm waters off the Carolinas. Millions bracing for the storm's second landfall.
All North Carolinians across our state need to be prepared for a deluge.
Debbie's track taking it all the way into the Northeast, where overnight a separate severe system rocked the region, swamping roads in New York and New Jersey.
It's bad. Its water is very deep, and it's flooded all the way down there.
And forcing airlines to cancel hundreds of flights. New York City authorities using drones to warn residents.
If you live in a basement or ground floor apartment, be prepared to leave your location if flooding occurs.
Debbie dumping nearly 2 feet of water in parts of Florida where they're still feeling the effects. Drone video shot this morning by the county showing water still in the streets of Sarasota.
Victor, thank you. The remnants of Debbie will be moving in the Northeast this weekend. We want to get right to ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z in North Carolina. Ginger.
And by then it will be almost a week that we've been tracking Debbie across our country. That's how slowly it's moving, Phil. Behind me, the surf is kicking here in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. But the storm is still 80 miles or so south of Myrtle Beach. It has barely moved. Its forward motion is now north-northeast at 3. It's going to have to get moving to make a second landfall, and it will eventually, probably early tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, we've got a brand new flash flood warning just by us here. Wilmington's included in that. We've got a tornado watch. We've seen confirmed tornadoes already this afternoon, not far from us actually, and that goes up to Morehead City till 11 p.m. Quick look at that second landfall. It happens overnight tonight, but those streamers and the convection, that really strong rain is going to be only building into the overnight hours, and that's why 3 to 6 inches widespread will make for flash flooding. Tomorrow it's Raleigh, Roanoke, Charlotte, and then it gets into Appalachia. So they need rain desperately, but not all at once. Eventually then, Pennsylvania, Western New York, and Vermont, but the line trails through Philadelphia Friday afternoon, New York City by Friday night, so we all will get rid of it by Saturday. That's the high risk, rarely gets issued, let alone for days in a row. It goes up to Roanoke now, and then 6 to 10 inches is the total on top of whatever you've already had as some of the biggest ones out there, Phil.
Ginger Z continuing to track Debbie tonight. Ginger, thank you. We move now to the race for the White House. The newly formed Democratic ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz barnstorming the upper Midwest in their first full day of campaigning together. The pair addressing a large crowd in Detroit, Michigan, late today.
Can we hear it up for Tim Walz? Isn't he amazing? He's going to be the most incredible vice president.
Walz introduced Kamala Harris, did not address questions about his military service raised by J.D. Vance today.
We know it's going to be a hard race. We know it's going to be close. But let's don't be so close that these guys have anything to say. Let's don't be so close that there's anything. Let's just win the damn thing by a broader margin. Simple proposition. This election's about which direction this country's going to go in.
Earlier today, there were these massive crowds for their rally in Wisconsin. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance planning to shadow their moves. Vance also in Eau Claire trying to cross paths with Harris and Walz on the tarmac. Their planes were that close. It is also so hot in Wisconsin and Michigan, there have been calls for multiple medics during these speeches. Selena Wang reports in from Michigan.
Tonight, the race for the White House in full swing, with both campaigns battling to win the Midwest. Air Force Two and J.D. Vance's campaign plane meeting on the tarmac.
I just wanted to check out my future plane.
Holding dueling rallies in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
How great it is to be here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Vice President Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, on the trail for their first full day of campaigning, drawing another huge crowd.
So in the next 90 days, we need you to use your power. We need you to knock on doors. We need you to register folks to vote. We need you to energize and organize and mobilize and make your voices heard.
The campaign saying they've reached $36 million in the 24 hours since Walz has been on the ticket. A new poll out today shows Harris and Donald Trump effectively tied among likely Wisconsin voters. Harris hoping Walz from bordering Minnesota will help them take the state. New rivals, Vance and Walz, both veterans. Vance, who deployed to Iraq in the Marines and did not see any active fighting, going after Walz's military background, accusing him of leaving his unit before it deployed to Iraq and lying about his service, seizing on this moment.
And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
He has not spent a day in a combat zone. What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not.
Walz served in the Army National Guard for 24 years and has never claimed to have seen active combat, despite those comments that he carried a gun in war. He retired honorably in 2005 to run for Congress as the crisis in Iraq was growing. The Harris campaign saying in a statement, the governor carried, fired, and trained others to use weapons of war innumerable times. Governor Walz would never insult or undermine any American service to this country. In fact, he thanked Senator Vance for putting his life on the line for our country. It's the American way. Walz hitting right back.
Donald Trump, he sees the world differently than we see it. He has no understanding of service because he's too busy servicing himself. Again and again and again. Again and again and again. This guy weakens our country to strengthen his own hand.
Our thanks to Selena Wang from just outside Michigan, Detroit, Michigan tonight. In the meantime, ex-Trump attorney Jenna Ellis is now cooperating with Arizona prosecutors for her role in the fake electors case after Ellis agreed to provide insight for the case in exchange for charges being dropped against her. The case centers around an event where 11 people met in Phoenix in December of 2020, claiming to be duly elected and qualified electors, alleging Trump had carried the state. Joe Biden winning Arizona by more than 10,000 votes. The state's Republican Party at the time posting a video where these electors signing the document that is now at the center of this very case. Joining us now for more is ABC's Olivia Rubin. Olivia, let's start with Jenna Ellis. Talk about the role she played in Trump world and why her cooperation is so important here.
Well, Jenna Ellis is someone who at one point was on the inner circle with Donald Trump. She was a lawyer for the campaign. Remember everything going on in the wake of the 2020 election, the lawsuits, the press conferences. Jenna Ellis was right there front and center. And behind the scenes, Jenna Ellis was there as well. She is someone that has had personal conversations with Donald Trump and some of his top aides. So this is not someone that Trump or, his allies want turning on them, because remember, now that she is cooperating, she is going to tell authorities what she knows. She's going to give them information. She's going to give them documents, and she is going to testify ultimately if they ask her to. But remember, this is not the first time that Jenna Ellis has agreed to flip on Donald Trump. The Georgia case, separate case, state case where Donald Trump is charged and has pled not guilty, she agreed to cooperate there as well. And we've gotten, a little bit of a sneak peek window into what she's told authorities there. If you remember, ABC exclusively obtained that video of her proffer statement with the authorities there, where she said specifically that in one conversation she had, an aide to Donald Trump said the boss is not going to leave the White House. So it's that sort of information getting investigators closer to Donald Trump than they were 2 days ago before she flipped.
We also know another person has pled guilty in the Arizona fake electors scheme. What can you tell us about that and why Arizona is at the center of this?
Well, that was one of the 11 fake electors, so-called, in the state. Remember, those were a slate of Republican electors that submitted their votes for Donald Trump, despite the fact that Joe Biden had been certified as winning that state. And what the indictment says is that they were, potentially just, they've claimed that they were just doing it in case Donald Trump's legal challenges panned out. But they say, no, they wanted Mike Pence to be able to pick those electors. So she has now, one of those electors, also pled guilty to a reduced charge. She was facing a number before, and now her attorney also says that she has been sentenced to just unsupervised release. But the question is, this is all playing out in the battleground state of Arizona just 90 days before the election. Think about what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have said in their campaign, that democracy is on the ballot. They have framed Donald Trump as a threat to democracy. And now, in just, the weeks and months before the election, voters in that state are reminded of what happened in 2020. And now you have individuals who were once supportive of Donald Trump coming around and accepting responsibility for their actions, saying they did something wrong and trying to move forward. And voters are going to see that.
And so it's almost 4 years since the election. And I know this is like the $1 million question everybody asks, but is there any chance there's a resolution here before the election in November?
It doesn't appear so. It seems pretty likely that this is going to stretch out into 2025 after the 2024 election, which has been the theme of many cases that surround Donald Trump, though he is not charged in Arizona. Very important to point out. But a number of his top current and former allies are. So it doesn't seem like there is going to be a resolution before 2024. But remember, this is also a state case. So if Donald Trump does take the White House in November, this is not something that he can help his allies make go away, because you can't pardon for state crimes.
Right, just federal. All right, Olivia Rubin, thanks so much. Always good to talk to you.
Thanks.
Now to the UK, where thousands of police fanned out across the country and storefronts were boarded up in anticipation of another day of anti-migrant riots. But a more peaceful message seemed to prevail. ABC's Ian Pannell has the latest from London.
Yeah, Phil, so far it appears that the evening has not belonged to the far right, as many people had feared. There are over 100 sites, immigration centres, places where asylum seekers are housed, vulnerable communities that were feared to be being targeted by the far right. Remember, we've seen clashes for over a week where extreme violence has been used against the police, but also vulnerable communities. We've seen mosques attacked. We even saw on a couple of incidents terrible scenes where hotels were being used to house immigrants and asylum seekers. People attempted to set fire to them. And there have been threats that we could see a large-scale repetition of this tonight. And so far, that really hasn't materialized. We've only seen tiny, tiny clusters of the far right coming out on the streets. Instead, what we have seen are thousands and thousands of peaceful protesters taking to the streets to demonstrate, to raise their voice against the far right, against the fascists who've been taking to the streets, saying they do not represent them. They stand against racism. They stand in favor of treating people equally. And they've said that immigrants are welcome in the country and that they're willing to protect their own streets. We've also seen thousands of extra police deployed around the country. This has become a burning political issue here in the UK. The UK Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister Keir Starmer, vowing to have a tough stance against anyone involved in this far-right violence. In fact, today we saw the sentencing to prison, custodial sentences for 3 of the first of the hundreds of protesters who've been arrested. One of those sentences was for 3 years. The message is loud and clear. We won't tolerate it. And the people have taken to the streets saying they do not represent them. Phil?
All right, Ian Pannell, thank you. From London tonight. Now to the war in Ukraine, taking a major turn. For the first time since the Russian invasion, the Ukrainian military is launching a large-scale assault inside Russia. It's the most serious incursion into Russian territory since the war began. Here's ABC's foreign correspondent James Longman.
Ukraine has launched an unprecedented surprise attack inside Russia tonight, the first large-scale assault across the border since the start of the war. Ukrainian sources say this video shows Russian soldiers being taken prisoner in southwestern Kursk region. Russia released this video, which purports to show their forces bombing Ukrainian troops and armoured vehicles that were part of the ground assault. And this video claims to show Russian helicopters launching missiles and intense battles. Fighter jets streaking across the sky near the Russian border of Sudza, which is home to critical natural gas infrastructure. Ukrainian troops have seized several villages, and they've advanced nearly 10 miles into Russian territory. That's according to pro-Kremlin military bloggers. The Ukrainians haven't commented on this operation, but overnight their troops are also storming the Russian-occupied Kherson region in southern Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin has convened an urgent security meeting, and he's called Ukraine's incursion a large-scale provocation and vowed to crush the assault.
Phil, the White House said today that Ukraine did not warn them about this attack, and the goal here is still unclear. Perhaps Ukraine trying to draw Russian troops up and away from the Ukrainian battlefield. Phil?
James Longman tonight. James, thank you. Meantime, the head of the World Health Organization says he will convene a meeting of experts to decide if the Mpox outbreak in Africa is actually a global emergency. Last week, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that Mpox, also known as monkeypox, has now been detected in 10 African countries this year, including Congo, which has more than 14,000 cases and 511 deaths. No cases of the type of Mpox currently spreading have been reported here in the U.S. at this time. The CDC notes the risk to the general public from the type of Mpox circulating in the DRC is very low, and a vaccine is available and recommended for those who are at higher risk. Now to a new setback for Boeing's Starliner spacecraft and its two astronauts forced into an extended stay on board the International Space Station. The astronauts, now on day 60 of what was supposed to be an 8-day mission, may not be able to return to Earth until next year. NASA admitting problems with the trouble-plagued Starliner are worse than they first thought. Here's ABC's Maria Villarreal.
A shocking new setback in Boeing's Starliner saga. Tonight, NASA says astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams may now have to wait until February before returning to Earth, and possibly with Elon Musk's company, SpaceX. Officials breaking the news on a teleconference today.
We know that at some point we need to bring Butch and Sunny home. While they're up there, we have extra crews, we have extra hands. They can do a lot more work, but they're also using up more consumables, more supplies.
The two launching into orbit back in June on Starliner's first ever crew mission. The 8-day mission now stretching into months as NASA works to fix Starliner's thrusters and helium leaks.
They're working very hard on the ground to make sure that we will be able to come home before too long.
Tonight, NASA says it is still focused on bringing Wilmore and Williams home on Starliner, but the agency acknowledging it is seriously evaluating other options for their return.
Phil, we do know that SpaceX's Dragon crew will be heading to space next month, and they can make room for these two astronauts. The thing is, they're not coming back until early next year. Again, NASA is reminding everyone this plan has not yet been approved. Phil?
All right, Maria, thank you. There's still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, with Tropical Storm Debbie bearing down, volunteers jump into action to save hundreds of dogs. But up next, an update on the deadly floods that are sweeping across southern Yemen. Homes swept away, hundreds of people displaced.
What is aloha? To me, aloha is a way of life.
Hawaii is not only spectacular, wondrous, breathtaking, a place like no other. It's home to generations of Hawaiians. It's my home. And home is where love is.
So many people come to Hawaii because of its unique culture, of our unique resources, and you can't have the culture without the people.
The fires that raged in Maui caused heartbreak, destruction, changed lives forever.
I immediately knew that morning something was off, just the way the wind blew.
I get down there, not a house standing.
Sorry.
But the fire and the spirit of the Hawaiian people burned stronger, stronger than those fires.
Hawaii will become Hawaii again if we're allowed to steward our land.
Now you're about to see and feel what makes Hawaii, Hawaii, like never before.
Coming here kind of gives you that glimpse into what Hawaii used to be and what it used to look like.
Like, I was born and raised in Hawaii. It was just hard to leave. All I listened to was just Hawaiian music. Like, it took me back to home.
Maui Rising, the fight for Hawaii's future.
It's so powerful and it's so magical, and it feels like our ancestors are here helping us, guide us.
Friday night at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source. Why do so many people start their day here?
This is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen, wherever you get your podcasts. Start Here.
I'm Matt Rivers in the Israel-controlled Golan Heights. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We are tracking several headlines around the world right now. The Israeli government is bracing for potential attacks from Iran and Hezbollah following 2 assassinations in Tehran and Beirut last week. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel and the U.S. have deployed military assets in the region, including American F-18 fighter jets. Iran has been under intense diplomatic pressure to reconsider its response. Officials in Yemen say at least 45 people have been killed and hundreds displaced following several days of heavy rain. Torrential rain and flash floods have left a trail of devastation across western Yemen, damaging roads, overturning vehicles, and washing away homes in some villages. A court in Thailand has ordered the dissolution of the leading opposition political party. The court ruled the Move Forward party violated the Constitution by proposing an amendment to the law against defaming the country's royal family. The ruling also imposes a 10-year ban on political activity for the party's leaders. Move Forward won the most seats in the 2023 parliamentary election, but was blocked from taking office. And still to come tonight, the animal shelter in Tropical Storm Debbie's path, and the volunteers coming to the rescue.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City.
Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation.
You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. Raleigh, North Carolina. The U.S. Capitol.
Mayfield, Kentucky.
Minneapolis.
Mexico.
Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen. Giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news. Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, jaw-dropping. The most powerful stories of our time. Nightline, on right after Kimmel and streaming on Hulu. ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
I love that so much.
GMA Life. Streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
ABC News Live, honored with 8 Emmy nominations, more than any other streaming news network. And ABC News Live Prime with Linsey Davis, the first and only streaming show nominated for Best Outstanding Live News Program. This is ABC News Live.
Finally tonight, with Tropical Storm Debbie bearing down, meet the volunteers who jumped in to save hundreds of animals in need. Our Linsey Davis reports.
As Tropical Storm Debbie barrels down, animal shelters are asking their communities to help temporarily foster dogs and cats in need, and so many are answering the call to help. In Summerville, South Carolina, north of Charleston at Dorchester Paws. Just take a look at this, the long line of cars all waiting to foster.
Yeah, we're gonna have so much fun.
Family after family picking them up. 347 animals fostered in all. Munster is now home with the Brown family. Ozzy running in his new backyard. And just 30 minutes away in Moncks Corner, South Carolina at Berkeley Animal Center, look at all the empty cages and vacant crates. 137 animals there now in foster homes. 1-year-old Tessa with the Broad family. 4-month-old cats Sam and Mo now with the Stanleys. That shelter with a simple message to their community.
Thank you!
Indeed, love seeing the lines of people waiting to help. Linsey, thank you for that. And that's our show for tonight. I'm Phil Lipoff. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, and the ABC News app, and of course, abcnews.com. Have a great night.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
Your health, your money.